The harsh reality that we all understand, yet struggle to deal with, is that convenient, people-driven designs are harming ecosystems. Therefore, it's up to designers to challenge how their interventions affect other living organisms and the environment that we're all part of. Other than the fact that climate change is making life harder, why and how is designing for people worse for them in the long run? Hello creative people, and welcome to Sbjctv Design, the channel where we discuss the pros and cons of design concepts with the goal that designers like ourselves use these concepts in our future projects. My name is Alice, and today we'll be discussing ecocentrism. This is the second of two videos that help us understand who we're designing for. Ecocentrism is a philosophy that places intrinsic value on all living organisms and their natural environment, regardless of the perceived importance and usefulness to human beings. This philosophy also argues for social justice between humans. The difference is that it claims human issues should not diminish the importance of preserving ecosystems. These are ecosystems like the forests that are burning at higher rates, the marine life that is swimming in our waste, or the resource-hungry cities constantly accumulating pollution. And as you know, this damage is due to human influence and the competitive and individualistic culture that values an egotistic pursuit of success. Then again, this ambition is what allowed us to progress into a society that no longer believes the sun revolves around the earth. At least for the most part. The good thing about knowing what causes climate change is that we can figure out how to prevent even worse outcomes. That's why encouraging an ecocentric mindset is the cultural shift we need to maybe, if it's not already too late, reduce the effects of climate change and treat other creatures fairly. For designers, ecocentrism applies to two different but related goals. These are maintaining ecological balance and implementing sustainable solutions. In terms of ecology, ecocentric designers try to find solutions that will help stabilize ecosystems by creating more resilient, flexible, and adaptable designs. At the building scale, these are designs that improve safety and access to food for all living creatures, which includes pets as much as the wild ones. For instance, I have to surrender my guinea pigs this week because I'm not allowed pets at the house that I have to move to. As for implementing sustainable solutions, this is not just a need for more efficient technology, but that we can be inspired by the ideologies of other cultures, such as many of the modern indigenous cultures that advocate for decisions that consider how they will affect people 7 generations into the future, or the resource-conscious belief that we must only take what we need and give back as much as possible. The issue is that ecocentrism is not as perfect as it sounds. This is first of all because ecosystems are dynamic, which basically means that contemporary solutions need to be adjusted for future considerations. You might think that's not a problem because cities, for example, are constantly changing. Yet, we also have to consider that making changes uses resources that we're supposed to be preserving. There's also the ethical concern that arises from a utilitarian approach to design. For instance, in the Humanism video, I mentioned how people often design for the average human and not the disenfranchised. The only difference now is that the disenfranchised might be a type of tree that provides housing for many, or an animal that keeps the food chain in check. This brings up a key factor where, unless thorough studies have been carried out, we probably don't know how our interventions will damage ecosystems. Another problem with an ecocentric society is how progress is defined, because technological and economic progress is essential, but partially to blame for how we got here. Take, for example, the different sustainability accreditation systems. While some are skewed towards mechanical performance, others focus on social aspects, and yet each is better than the other in some ways. Even though we realize this, not doing anything is still worse. Because if you put yourself in the baby-sized shoes of a hyper-woke newborn, then you might lament the fact that there's a lot of species that are disappearing from our planet. Or that as you grow older, you will have less immediate access to diverse nature that is not manicured to protect people from their environment. And instead, you have to live in a city that is literally making you sick. This results in increased living costs. not only towards your health, but to pay for a dwelling that was designed with an expected lifespan shorter than yours. There are also citywide costs for landfills, wastewater treatment, and energy production that will eventually be taken out of your pocket through taxes. What I'm saying with this scenario is not that we should go back to the good old days, but that a quick and easy solution will affect future generations the most. While there are plenty of different examples, if we analyze what happens to projects during the design, maintenance, and end-of-life phases, we can more easily see the impact of ecocentrism. During design, this includes using ecosystems as inspiration to create high-performance solutions, such as improving indoor and even outdoor air quality, or designs that efficiently adapt to existing conditions to reduce resource usage. These are resources that are used to build such projects, or the methodologies that are used to collect and redistribute water, for example. For the maintenance phase, it relates to aiming for interventions that are more likely to prevent issues without causing new ones in the process. That's why some people argue that it's better to manage and not to try to control issues. We've seen this in designs that alter whole habitats to create new ones, such as dams that are undoubtedly beneficial to us, but when designed poorly, damage neighboring communities and may create even greater catastrophes. There's also the more common issue of roads that split habitats and force animals into harsher environments or destabilize existing food chains. The last impact relates to designs that question what happens at the end of a project's life cycle, as in, is it meant to last for a short time or a long time? And after you realize this, how does the design respond to that? In my opinion, any project that took a lot of resources to make should last an equally long time. Or in other words, last for at least the next 7 generations. If not, in pavilions or in other smaller projects, for instance, designers should select materials that either don't last that long or will be reused in other projects or for their material properties. So, in case you weren't paying attention, designing for people without any concern for ecosystems not only damages habitats, but also causes individual and citywide health and economic concerns. All there is to know now is whether you think that our society will ever achieve this level of concern for the environment. So make sure you leave a comment below. Bye. Thanks for watching another episode of Sbjctv Design. I won't be able to upload another video until early 2021. So make sure that you follow me on Instagram because I'll continue posting on that platform. The music was produced by my friend 𝗬𝗶𝗿 𝗩𝗶𝗶𝗀𝗍. Visit him on Instagram to listen to more of his magic.